So 10.4 is point slope form. Point slope form is just an equation to help you get it into slope intercept form. So point slope form is y minus y1 equal to m parentheses x minus x1. And the sole purpose of this is to be able to plug in a point and the slope, and then we can get it into the form of y equals mx plus b. And this is a two-step process as well. So when we get to that point, I'll show you how to do that as well. So point slope is just to help you get it in the correct formula. All right, so let's start with our first example. Oh, starts off super easy. We're just going to graph with a slope of m equals -1/3 and goes through 3, 4. So it doesn't even want us to come up with an equation. We just got to graph it. I was gearing for something bigger than that. Yeah. See? Oh, this is not the y-intercept. And can you tell me why it's not? It's no 0. But in this case, we're not asked to find the equation. We just have to graph it. We'll get to that point on how to find the equation, though. That's it. Yep. So I'm going to go find that point. How do I get to 3, 4, by the way? Perfect. Now, what does the slope tell me to do? Very good. Perfect. And so that coordinate there would be 6, 3. And that's all you have to do at the beginning of the 10-4 homework. Not so bad. Yeah, I was geared for something big, and it was like, nope, don't want to do that. Well, I guess that's what question 2 would then get into. Comma 4. So yep. So I went right 3, up 4. Mm-hmm. So then the slope, because the negatives applied to the top, told me go down 1 and then right 3. 3. Mm-hmm. And that landed me at 6, 3. Six, 3, yes. All right. So let's take this to the next step. We're now going to find the first one. That was just a review over, I guess, 10-3 on just how to graph it. That was a nice easy one to get into 10-4. We're in 10-4 now. We're gonna do 5 and 6 after the break, and then that's it. So the test will be over chapter 9 and 10. And then next week on Wednesday, we'll do chapter 12. And then I probably won't finish all of chapter 12. So then the following week, I'll finish 12 and do 13. And then your next test is Thanksgiving break. It'll be open for 7 days, and that's your open book test that you'll have. 2.5 hours to do. Just make sure there's no pausing. So make sure when you start it, you got 2.5 hours just in case you need it. Yeah. Yeah. I still remember my mom. She would wake up like at 4 a.m. to get the turkey in the oven just so it's ready. Now I'm all about frying it. I love me some fried turkey. I want to get into that. Someone was telling me they got it's like an air fryer fried turkey. It's an oilless fried turkey. I don't know. I know, but I don't. I know, and I think it's based off propane. So they use it's propane used, but I don't know. What I've seen, it looks like it burns it more than it gives it that nice crisp that peanut oil does. So I did that one year. It was okay. Hmm. Yeah. It was super juicy, but nothing beats that nice crisp crunch from a fried turkey. So, but I did try it one year and it was pretty good. I even did the whole brining process. Uh, so we're going to find the equation with a slope of -2/3 and goes through 3, 1. And then we'll also graph. All right. So what happens now? Yes. Oh, I got you. Sorry. So we have a slope and we have a point. And if you're trying to ask for the equation of line, that's when you will use point slope form. What you remember is y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Just like when we were looking for slope, it helps to label. My slope represents what letter? M. A coordinate I'm going to label as x1, y1. Do not plug anything into your y or x. Leave them as y and x. And the reason will be so that at the end of the day, I have y equals mx plus b, where all I have is m and b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave y as y minus, what is my y1? 1. What is my m? Perfect. Parentheses. Leave x as x minus what's x1? 3. Perfect. So questions I'm plugging in. All right. Once you plugged in, it's 2 steps. All right. Step 1, distribute. Oh, I think I just wrote step. Step 1, distribute. So what that means is I'm going to take this -2/3 or whatever the m might be, and I'm going to multiply it to everything inside my parentheses. multiplying. So I'm going to distribute that negative 2/3 in. So I'm going to drop down the y minus 1 for now. A number next to a number multiplied to a letter, I cannot do anything with it. So I'm just going to write it as is. So it just stays negative 2/3 x. And then what is negative 2/3 times negative 3? Positive 2. Two negatives make a positive. And if you're going to multiply by 3 and divide by 3, your 3's are pretty much canceling and you're left with the 2. If you do it outright, remember you can make a whole number into a fraction by putting it over 1. So 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. And then 6 divided by 3 is 2. So if you have to see the whole process, by all means, write that out. Absolutely, especially when you're going back going, how did we get 2? That's how we did it. Step 2, add or subtract the number. I was about to put a pound sign. The number next to y. So in this case, how will I get rid of this minus 1? So I'm going to add 1 only to my other constant. I'm not going to add it to the number that's next to the x. I'm only going to add it to the other number. So that will go away. I'm then left with y equals negative 2/3 x. And what's 2 plus 1? 3. You now have it in the correct equation. And now we're ready to graph it. Sorry, I got distracted. Say it again. Oh, wait, I was thinking about the next one. Yep. Perfect, yes. So this is your equation. And after that, you can just graph. You can either use the y-intercept and the slope, or you can use your original point and the slope. Which one do you want to do? This part doesn't matter. Just got to start with some point. So I can use the point given, or I can use the y-intercept. Okay. Then how do I graph 3? What's my slope tell me to do? Go down 2 and then over 3. So I think that point would be 3, 1. Oh, look at that. It's funny how that worked out. So we could have started at that point and then gone down 2 more and over 3 and got another point somewhere on that line. Yeah, that's a coinkydink right there. Yep. The negative was applied to the top. So I went down 2 and then right 3. And it so happened to be the point given. Yeah. I don't know if that works out every time, but that was pretty cool. I doubt it works out every time. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're ready for the next step or next type of question. All right, so this was nice because it gave us the slope and a point. So we were immediately able to plug it into here, do my 2-step process, and I got my equation. What if they ask you to find the equation and they only give you 2 points? So this one is -2 comma 4 and 0 comma -1. Close. Flip it. It is, but I don't have the slope, so it doesn't really help me much. But it does in a sense. Knowing that this right here is the y-intercepts, I do in fact know that b is equal to -1. But what am I not having? What do I need still? I still need my m. How do I calculate the m? This was from the beginning of 10.3 of today's lecture. It is the rise of a run. What's the equation? 10.3, what we did at the beginning of this course. X2 minus X1. Perfect. That's what's like, you're like that. I was like, ooh, now flip that. All right, so remember, it's just easier to label, but this is X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So when I plug it in, I get -1 minus 4, and then 0 minus -2. Nope, sorry, I'll let you catch up. So -1 minus 4 would be -5. Good. You owe $1, and then you borrowed another $4. Now you owe $5. What is going to happen to these two negatives here? Going to be a positive. So what's 0 plus 2? 2. Simplify if you can, but if you can't, that's where you stop. So now to write this in my equation, which remember is y equals mx plus b, I don't have to have the point slope formula since it did give me the y-intercept. My answer would be y equals 5/2. Good. So it's a plus a negative, so therefore it's just a -1. Oh, do we have to graph this too? Finally, nope, we just have to find an equation. Good. Now, we'll say if you didn't notice that, once you would have got this slope, then you would have chose this first point and you're back to this question. So if you wouldn't have noticed that was your B, you would have taken the slope that you just calculated. Your first point was my X1, Y1, and then I would have to then plug it in and go this process. And you would get to the same conclusion. The goal of this problem is that you do identify that this is the y-intercept. So all you had to do is find the slope and then plug it in and you're done. But if you didn't, you would then have that extra step to it. No, it could have easily given you a real number. So let's do that just in case. Let's hypothetically say this was 1, -1, right? So therefore, I now have to plug it in because I can't easily do it. So what I'm then going to do is use the equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And remember, we leave y and x alone. We only replace the other three. So this will become y minus, what's my y1? 4. What's the slope I just calculated? Parentheses, x minus, what's my x1? And so a minus negative would produce a positive 2. Now that's in this form. What was step 1? Distribute. So remember, a number times a letter, you just keep it as that number and letter. And then what would negative 5 halves times 2 be? Okay. 10 over 2, which simplifies down to 5. Good. Now, will it be a positive or negative? Negative, because it's a negative 5 halves times 2, so it'd be negative. What was the second step? Add 4. Get rid of the number next to the y by either adding or subtracting. So I'm going to add 4. Which is what we got here. So yes, if this coordinate was not given to you, then yes, you would have to do this process. But do realize that if you are given this one, saves you like 3 steps. And you can just go straight to the answer. But that is a good point. What happens if it doesn't? Hmm? Yeah, it was a good point to ask. Very good. All right, the next thing it's going to ask us to do is write an equation given a graph. And again, I'm going to try my best to produce a good graph. So we're going to write an equation. Oh, in standard form. Love that they just added that back. For our line, from a graph. Just an FYI. Standard form is AX plus BY equals C. And all this means is that the A and the B are on the same side. All right, so here we go. So here's my attempt at the graph. There's a point right there at 3, 0. And a point at negative 2, 2. Yeah. I went left 2 and up 2. And then this one's 3, 0. It's okay. I try to get 2 good points. You'll be able to get a good graph and pull 2 good points from it as well. But from here, we're pretty much doing this exact process, but given a graph versus given the points themselves. So given the graph, go find 2 good points and then do your work from there. So what's the first thing I need to do to be able to write the equation? Absolutely, yeah. So my points are it does not, as long as you label. So if you call this the first point, it better be the first X and the first Y through the whole process. If you call this the first point, that's fine too, but it has to be the entire process. But no, it does not matter which one you choose. And here's the reason why I do ask you to still label. a lot of students, they'll be like, oh, I like the 0 here and the +2 here, and they'll pick and choose the X and Y. That I can't do that. You have to stick with the right, whatever X you pick, better be its corresponding Y. So which one do y'all want to be the first point? This one? Okay. So that's fine. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Right? So what's the first thing I need to go find? My M. Very good. And how do I find my M? All right. So my Y2 is minus, what's my Y1? You're right. What's my X2? 3 minus, what's my X1? So 2 negatives will make a positive. 0 minus 2 gives me -2 because you have $0, but you want to buy something that's $2 or worth 2. 3 plus 2, +5. I now have my slope. I was not given a good y-intercept. So I have to do that alternative process of plugging into the point slope form, which remember is y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. Keep that y and x staying the same. So what's my y1? 2. My m is and your x1 is perfect. What's the first step? Perfect. It doesn't simplify. So you would leave it. Hmm? What's your second step? Menu to enter. Right? No. Math. Is there a fraction button? Like say FRAC. Hit that button and then enter. Yeah. It's been a while since I've used an 84, but I remember that trick. I said that menu 22 is the TSI Inspire, so I got that one down pretty good because kids always ask, "What's this fraction?" Menu 22 enter. Go. Hey, no problem. So what do you do now? Add the 2. Perfect. And I would leave it as that fraction. It'll help you in one. It should be a positive. Just so you see this on the side here. 2 is the same thing as 10 over 5. Because remember, when you're adding fractions, they have to have the same denominator. So 2 is the same thing as 10 over 5. And so -4 plus 10 is 6. Because if you borrow 4 and you owe 10, or sorry, if you owe 4 and you have 10, you still have $6, and then the 5 stays the same. But your calculator shoots you out the fraction as well. All right, now I would love to say we're done there. But what makes this question a little bit harder is we have to write it in this form. So this one is a two-step process. To go from slope-intercept to standard form. So step one, let's do a different color. Move the x back over. All right. So what that means is if I have y equals negative 2/5 x plus 6/5, how do I move this guy over? Just like when the x was over here and we moved it, what do we do with its sign? We change the sign. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Maybe I should say that. Change the x or change, move, change, ops operation. Oh, it's already a negative. So it'd be positive 2/5 x plus y equals 6/5. The last step, so step 3, running out of room on this board here. Oh gosh, I don't know. Step 2, there's only 2 steps. We don't we don't like fractions. So you're going to multiply by the denominator. And remember, the denominator is the number that's on the bottom of the fraction. So I'm going to take this entire thing. I'm going to multiply by 5 because that's what the denominator is. So step 2, multiply by the denominator. Yeah. Yeah, denominator would be the bottom number. So now you have to do all of them. So my final answer, go ahead. You would multiply it by 5 as well. Okay. Yes, everything has to get it. Even though y doesn't have a fraction, it still gets multiplied. So now what is 5 times 2/5? 2, perfect. 5 times y would just be straight up 5y. And what's 5 times 6/5? 6. So that step 2 there, you can't have fractions. So I had to get rid of the fractions. This is your standard form. Yeah, that's a process. Mm-hmm. 2 steps for each one of them. Practice will help you do it kind of like repetition. Well, he definitely will. All right. So here's the next phase of these type of problems. 5. You're going to find the equation of a line that goes through I probably did too. No, I got that one. So. It's all right. All right, so we're gonna find the equation of a line that goes through 3, 4 and parallel to line 3x plus 2y equals -2. And then it does say graph both. All right, so a couple things to note here. -2, yes. First thing I need to do is if I'm graphing both of these, I need to put this in slope-intercept form so I can identify my slope and y-intercept. So a review of what we've done so far. What do I do first with 3x plus 2y equal to -2 to get it into y equals mx plus b? That's point slope. Slope intercept is y equals mx plus b. So it's a two-step process to go from standard form back to slope intercept. What's the first step? We did it, I think at the beginning of this lesson, maybe. Let's see. Nope, we did it at the other one. So what's the first step to go from standard to slope intercept? So if this is my standard form, I want to go to slope intercept, what's my first step? That's it. So I'm going to move this 3x to the front by changing its sign. So now it becomes a -3x minus 2. The x value, so this positive 3x is now a -3x. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's the second and last step? Good. Divide by the number next to the y. So I'm going to divide every term by 2. So that's just perfect. I always write it like this with the fraction next to the x so that when I want to go identify my slope, I'm grabbing the number and not the x. A lot of students, they want to grab the entire thing as the slope and it's just the number in front of the x. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, if it is parallel, that means they have the exact same slope. So the slope of the line I have to produce that goes through this point will have a slope of what? What's my slope? Perfect. So using this slope and this point, I need to find its equation of the line. So this is your x1 and y1. So this is where you're going to plug in that point slope formula. So y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Remember, I know it's a process. Keep the y and the x the same. So we get y minus my y1, which is 4, Perfect. Perfect. All right. And then this was a two-step process. There it is. So -3/2 times x would just be, it's just that. In this case, the two negatives do make it a positive, but you are right to say 9/2. So I think what you were doing earlier, I think you accidentally added, yeah, because 3 times 3 would give you 9, and then 2 times 1 was 2. And then you can't do anything with that. So then what's your last step? Mm-mm. Remember, 4 is the same thing as 8 divided by 2. You have to have the same denominators. So it'd be 17/2. So for when I add the 4, I put it over 1. They have to have the same denominator. So I'd multiply both of them by 2. And it's the same thing as 8/2. Okay. So then 9 plus 8 gives me 17. Okay. And then the 2 stays the same. We don't like fractions, but we don't have to worry about putting in standard form or nothing. Yeah, it doesn't say. It just says find the equation on line. And when it says that, it's looking for the y equals. What makes this a little bit hard is we have to graph both. So to wrap up this question, I'm going to graph both of these lines on the same graph. So looking at the first one, the pink one here, I'll try to keep it color coded. Where do I start? All right, so what's my first point when it's in this form? Good. So I'll go down 1 to start. And then what's my slope tell me to do? Very good. There's your first graph. Oof. This one's a little hard because it's a fraction, but how do I graph 17/2? So that's my y-intercept. What is 17/2? Anyone know as a decimal? Mm-hmm. So if it's 8.5, I want to put a point between 8 and 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my point would be about right there, in between 8 and 9 to represent 8.5. Now, what's my slope tell me to do? This one here for the orange. Good, but one thing I do want you to note, so when you're doing your homework, I'm going to go down 3, but I'm going to count the halfway marks as a 1. So this would be 1, 2, 3. So that's my 3 down between the 5 and 6. And then I would still go over 2. So it'd be about right there. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So that'd be 5.5. 6.5, 5.5, and then over the 2 still. And then when I make those lines, if you didn't know, parallel lines are lines that do not cross, like railroad tracks. So graphically, if I was a good drawer, I'm sure y'all's graphs look perfect. They would look like they are parallel to each other. Okay. Go ahead. No, the orange one. Yeah, so the y-intercept was 17 over 2. So that means that my y-intercept would be 8.5 as a decimal. So that's where that first point came. 8.5, yep. And then I went down 3. So I went down 7.5, 6.5, 5.5. Yep, and then over 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 17 over 2. A lot of times when you get a y-intercept that's a fraction, we try to do rise over run. So then it's like, all right, I'll go over 17 up 2, and then that's not the case. Right? Oh, the coordinates? You can. This would be 2 comma 5.5. And then this would have been 2 negative 4. Yeah, this 3, 4 gave me the orange equation. Yeah, the pink equation came from the standard form that was given to me. And then I had to use that slope since it was parallel. I knew that they had the same slope. So that's how I got the slope. And then I used that point in the point slope form to get it down to slope intercept form. Yeah, so a lot of stuff going on in these questions. Yeah. Because we got one more and then 10.4 is done. So you ready for the next one? One more question. And it's about that intense. So, and then we'll take a short little recess and then get into 10.5. So we're going to find the equation of the line through the points 3 comma 4 and perpendicular to the line 3x plus 2y equals negative 2. And unfortunately, they're going to want you to graph both. All right, for starters, let's start off with the first equation and get that in the proper slope-intercept form. So I'm going to start with this guy. So 3x plus 2y equals negative 2. What do I do first? Of which one? Mm-mm. Good. I want to change the sign of the x. So I get 2y equals I want to keep it in that y equals mx plus b. There it is. Minus 2. Perfect. And then what's the last step? There it is. Simplify if you can. Hey, wasn't that the same slope we just had? I think it's the same equation, is it not? Oh man. So original. So it'd be -1. Slope is different on this one. So that's that first part. To be perpendicular, the slope is opposite reciprocal. So what that means is whatever the slope of the line you're trying to be perpendicular to, you're going to change the sign, flip the fraction. So instead of -3/2, it will become what? 2/3. So if it's perpendicular, you flip it and change the sign. So you can look at this. So this would be change sign, flip fraction. To help you out with the word opposite reciprocal. So just like before, now that I have the slope and I have a point, I can now plug it into my point slope formula. Make sure you properly label x1, y1. Keep y the same, so this becomes y minus, what's my y1? Oh, pausing. Yep, I got you. You're good. So what's my y1? 4. What's right, but what's my m? The 2/3 that came up with here. You're good. So your m there is the 2/3 x, and then minus, what's my x1? 3. All right, there it is. Hold up, hold up. Are you sure? Are you sure it's positive? You have a positive times a negative. The 3. Oh, I don't know. The positive 3. Be a negative. So a positive 2/3 times a negative 3 would produce a -2. Go ahead. Ask. Oh, the 2/3? Yeah. You change the sign so it became a positive and flip the fraction. So yeah. Go ahead. Makes it a negative. Correct. You're good. That's all right. What's the so you add it to 4? Yeah, okay. Because what's -2 plus 4? Perfect. So let's re-graph this one that we already graphed. So where will I start? So if I want to graph this green one, where do I start? So you start with that y-intercept. Then what's my slope tell me to do? Correct. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And there's the first line. Where do I start on my black one? Good. I'm going to start at 2. So now notice they go through each other. And if you didn't know, perpendicular makes 90-degree angles. You don't have to know that, but that's what makes it perpendicular. Yep. So it went up 2 over 3. No, you're right. Up 2, 3 over. So that would be 3, comma 4. And then this one I think is still 2, negative 4. It's been a long week. Yep. Started with the 2, the positive 2 there. So I went to the 2 on the y-axis. And then I went up 2, so I went 3, 4. And then I went right 3. So I went 1, 2, 3. For the slope of 2/3. Gotcha. We good? Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 7:24. 10:05, 10:06.